Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another cast by myself. I ate Skittles from the Last Player Standing tournament, round of 16. This is going to be game 2 in the series between Fnatic MSI KR, which is Kawaiirice, versus vVvRuFF. Ruff. What about him? Oh. This guy sounds very sour about his little bit of a drop there in Grandmaster. That's unfortunate. Anyhow, the map today will be GSL dual site. In the right position, we will be having Kawaiirice as the yellow Terran. And in the left, we are having vVvRuFF in the left position as the red. And pop up that production tab. So, something about the map. What we have here is GSL dual site. It doesn't tend to lend itself to such long matches as the last game, which was on GSL Crevasse. But, you know, it's still an awfully long rush distance between these two bases. If we scroll along, it's like, nah. That's a long way, especially for Terran versus Terran. And so we can expect still a fairly long match. What else is there to say? These have very... I'm still not over these Zelnaga towers. I don't really understand them. But, anyhow. Going into this match, Fnatic MSI... Kawaiirice, rather. It's difficult to decide what to call them all the time. But, anyhow. Kawaiirice is up 1-0 in the series. This best of 3 series. So, as you see, this a little bit of SCV harassment going on there. It's chased right off to a little bit of a fight to the death here, and it's very close. But it looks like KR's got the lead by 5 health. Whew. Unimpressed face. And yeah, we're seeing gas on both players. Orbital command coming on through for vVvRuFF, which seems to be a little bit ahead of Kawaiirice's orbital command. He just likes to wait until he's at 16, I guess. Not a problem there. Nothing so crazy as last game. Last game was a very interesting game to watch, as we did see a proxy factory go down for vVvRuFF, and he went for very quick proxy Thors, which I've never seen, but evidently he's not a huge fan of Terran vs. Terran. It's not all that much different from a popular caster named Total Biscuit. He seems to have pioneered the proxy battlecruiser in Terran vs. Terran. Seeing a factory come down for vVvRuFF, one barracks, one factory for both players. Kawaiirice's is out much quicker, although vVvRuFF has taken his second gas now. And the starport coming right on through. As factory's about half finished for vVvRuFF. So, a little bit behind in that department, but nothing too big. Flying the barracks over there. Did he drop a tech lab or something? I really don't know why he moved his barracks. It's beyond me. It looks like he's got this guy set up for a starport here. Maybe, or... Yeah, going for dual starports once again. He completely skipped the proxy Thor, but he's going for dual starports. Building his whole base in this corner of the base because why not? We can build it there rather than near the ramp. It's Terran versus Terran. Terrans like to shoot up the ramps and destroy wall-offs, so... Banshee coming on out here, so we're seeing quick Banshees out of Kawaiirice. He does have a bit of a supply lead already, but nothing too major. He does seem to be a very, very strong macro player. His timings are dead on, as you'd expect from someone at this level, but especially so. And what else there to see? Just a whole bunch of Banshees and a couple Hellions coming on through. One Hellion's already out there, hopefully going up for a scout. Unfortunately, he's all walled off with supply depots. So, not much will be seen by the Hellion. You just realize that's there, and gonna take out one Marine, I guess. And loses the Hellion, actually, and doesn't even kill the Marine. Marine has 3 health left. That Marine is, just sitting there very happy with himself. A Banshee coming out for both players, although vVvRuFF also has a Viking coming on out. So, seeing as this Banshee coming out from Kawaiirice does not have Cloak, I don't see this harassment being of very much effect, because the Viking is already on the field. Vikings come out very quickly, so that's an interesting opener, actually, going for a Banshee and a Viking, but just because he probably knows his opponent can get the Viking out, the Banshee out slightly quicker, he decides to go for the quick Viking, and the Viking itself will spawn faster than the Banshee, allowing him to easily get that out. Another Viking from Ruff, as well as another Banshee. I cannot talk right now, as well as Viking going on out for KR. We're seeing all sorts of infantry things. It makes sense. He's just got a handful of Marines here coming out of a single barracks, which he is now going to swap and go for some heavy medvacs, or Vikings, I guess. Heavy Vikings. As he does see a bit of an air push coming on out of Ruff, which is very similar to what we saw last game. After the Proxy Thor, we saw mass Banshee out of him. Going to lose his Banshee, it looks like, and no. Oh, and there goes the Banshee. I'm interested to see where he goes from this. He is dropping his expansion now, which is actually after Kawaiirice. Kawaiirice is just using it as a macro command center right now, although he is not doing anything with it yet. Not in orbital, not making any SCVs with it. I'm not entirely sure why it's there, but you know, some things last game that Kawaiirice did not make much sense either. But that is probably because he's just too far ahead of me for me to comprehend what his plans are. Yep, coming out with the orbital there. Maybe just drop a couple, maybe just for mules, but likely he's going to pick that up and fly it over very soon. We're seeing an orbital command coming on out of, where is it? Ah, it's over here. And his orbital command, and over here, you normally reactor Viking. Not sure if it's his. I wouldn't say it's his normal build, but it seems to work out, and neither of them seems to be going with a particularly normal build. You expect Terran versus Terran to be a tank battle, and it's all about the tanks positioning and getting those Vikings ahead and moving on back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. It's mainly just positioning in Terran versus Terran usually. Neither of these have done an at all standard Terran build, mid and late game, so really this game could go anywhere. Transferring a whole bunch of SCVs down to this expansion, just about got that orbital finished down there. And just at the same time as Kawaiirice is flying his orbital down, dropping down a missile turret, probably ready for those Banshees, although they do not even have cloak, I do believe. Nope, there is no cloak yet for the Banshees on vRuFF. And, what else do we have coming out of Kawaiirice? More barracks, which we saw actually last game as well, transitioned to a large amount of barracks, although another Thor coming out this time for Kawaiirice. Last game, I think he made maybe one at most, made barely any either way, whereas vRuFF went for the streaming Thors into the enemy's base one at a time, which is something unique. I've never seen it before in any game. We're seeing a push now, one Thor, not actually a push, stopping up, but just one Thor, 6 Vikings, and 4 Marines. And starting to triple produce Marines, and I didn't mean to press that. Let's look at the income tab. You can see the gas is very heavily in favor of vRuFF, although the minerals are right in favor of MSI, probably due to just mules, as they're on the same number of bases, although now it would appear, just as he drops this command, it gets scouted by Fnatic. Unfortunately for him, these aliens apparently not too kind for it, and a bit of an air fleet coming in here. Only two Banshees in this whole mix. So it doesn't really kill ground things that quickly. Those Thors will probably cause it a lot of problems, but Vikings are fun. Everybody likes Vikings. And what do we see for reaction out of Kawaiirice? Actually, I switched into vRuFF's view there for a minute. And we see another command center coming down, which, as we saw last game, Kawaiirice likes to expand all over the place. He just lifts stuff up, drops it wherever, and even if it's in the most random position possible, the unfortunate part for vRuFF is trying to expand to the exact same place after it's already there. He does realize he has a base behind right now, and he needs to quickly get out another one, hence this expansion being dropped now, although he's also having a bit of a supply block here, nothing too major. Another Thor coming out, more Vikings. Kawaiirice does have the supply count advantage, however, he is still a base down. It looks like he's going to go down and try to cause some damage to this. Unfortunately, this is also a planetary fortress, which makes everything more complicated. Unless, actually, he's just going to push over to this Zelnaga. That poor Marine with 3 health, he tried. Just didn't work. And streaming in 5 Marines, and just doesn't seem to be too decided on what he wants to do. However, we're seeing the air fleet coming on over here. This is a lot of Vikings as well as a couple Thors, though, to deal with. with that air fleet. There are more Vikings in that fleet, but there are, you know, Marines and Thors, so definitely something to be considered. Cloak just about finished for Ruff. Don't believe it was ever researched for MSI, but that's because he's not using it. Stim pack on the way, more Thors. I believe these are 0-0 Thors still, as the Marines are also 0-0. Yes. Everything, no upgrades on any part. Managed to take out that planetary fortress simply by staying out of the way of it. There's quite a few cloaked banshees coming on through though, which, given as there's no ravens in this mix, could cause a few problems for these Thors. No more scans going down, so it would appear these two Thors are just going to be gone. Dealt with rather quickly by those banshees, which do a decent amount of damage for sure. Managed to take all those out and continue on praying around. Expanding right again, right here, right afterward. Just because, well, why not? 2 battle cruisers coming out of Ruff. He definitely seems to like going for some more unorthodox play. I would assume that it's likely just because he does not like the actual overall tank battles. Seeing the fusion core over here. Fusion cores are very interesting looking buildings, but yeah, hidden right over here by the expansion. So this scan by Kawaiirice that just went down right in the central area here. Did not find those. More battlecruisers, more Vikings. Still going for his mass airplay. More Thors, more starports, factories, refineries, barracks, upgrades, everything coming down for Kawaiirice. Still no sort of mech upgrades. Seems to have been spotted by Ruff now. But still no sort of mech upgrades on part of Kawaiirice, which is interesting given how many Thors he is sticking to making. Then again, there's also been absolutely no air upgrades for Ruff. I don't actually believe he even has an armory. No, he does not. Very interesting there. Seeing banshees and battlecruisers and Vikings and just general air stuff. Let's just build lots of air units because hey, why not? They look cool. And that's not often something you see in Terran vs. Terran. However, if his opponent was going for the standard tanks opener, then that, or just tanks late, mid-game, everything. Tanks are everything. If his opponent was going for that, this would be an extremely effective build as, well, the mass part of where the opponent's gas is going would not be able to do a single thing against all your units. And the Vikings starting to push in here. These Vikings are, come on Vikings, come on. Don't leave the battlecruiser. He's going to lose this battlecruiser. Could have saved that battlecruiser by moving in slightly sooner, but he does need to pull back now, as the Marines are in, the Thors are in, everything. It's just a little too much. Loses that other battlecruiser as well. More Vikings on the way for Ruff, but nothing else. An armory, SCVs, and another command center. He appears to be trying to take his 4th, as Kawhi is still sitting on 3 bases, but they are saturated bases. Actually, it appears a little oversaturated on his main now that he's down to these few mineral patches. But about saturated on the 2nd and about saturated on the 3rd. Having to run around these missile turrets is never fun. They just get in the way, but hey. Seeing a few Thors, bunch of Vikings, bunch of Marines pushing on down. Interesting unit compositions out of both players. Finally seeing some air upgrades coming down for Ruff. And combat shield coming on through for the Marines. Looks like that he'll be able to deny this expansion very quickly. I'm not entirely sure where he's going to go with this force, but it's definitely an interesting unit composition regardless. And looks to be going just straight for the counterattack. Unfortunately, as good as Vikings are, they don't shoot at much of what Kawaiirice has, because Kawaiirice has very few air units still. He just has all these Vikings edge. Looks like he's cleaned up the natural and is pushing on to the main without a single loss, or very close to no losses. Vikings catching up for Kawaiirice over here. Now we're just seeing Kawaiirice walk on through with 3 Thors and a bunch of Marines and killing everything that Ruff loves and has and everything else. Cleaned up this expansion as well, but that is not important. Actually, not yet, but there it goes. But should have got the flame sooner. That is GG for Kawaiirice, as one can assume, as there's about 100 supply difference in the favor of Kawaiirice. And he takes the series now. Kawaiirice has closed out Ruff 2-0 in this best of 3 series, and so he will move on to the round of 8. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this cast, and as I quite enjoyed casting these 2 games for you. They're very refreshing Terran vs. Terrans, as they're just not orthodox at all. Anyhow, I will be seeing you very soon with another cast from a different series, so goodbye and see you soon.